Tell me your first drama was not Boys Over Flowers.
Cut it.
Cut.
No, I'm just saying I'm going to cut it at this point.
Okay, just keep moving.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Lismo's podcast. Hey, Tommy.
Welcome. Hi.
Hey, girl. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It's not like I've not even spoken to you like 5 minutes ago. Oh, okay. How is everything?
It's calm. I can't complain. I'm good. I'm always
That's
good,
good.
to be honest.
I'm glad you're good. So
Yeah.
today we've got another
Wait. I
movie
actually
that
didn't
we're
ask
doing.
how are you. Sorry. That's kind of
Oh
rude.
no.
So sorry.
You know how I am. You know I am. You spoke to me like 5 minutes earlier. But for the
Yeah, well,
fans, I'm
yeah, tell the
doing well.
listeners.
For the fans, I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Okay, cool. Right.
Anyway, should I
Let's
should I go
get into
ahead?
it. Yeah.
Why is this awkward today? What's
We
going
didn't
on?
do our introduction.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the plot
No,
for the
like
movie.
we didn't introduce ourselves, darling. I'm Tommy,
Oh,
guys. Hello, everybody. I'm Tommy.
we're so offbeat today. What's going
Speak for
on?
yourself, and I am not offbeat.
Okay, guys. Okay, Tommy. Okay, 3, 2, 1, reset. Hey, and welcome to the Least Most podcast. I'm your girl
Hey,
Simi,
and I'm Tommy.
and this is Least Most podcast. Oh my
Okay, that
god.
was so forced, but we moved, Sha. Continue. We move.
Remove. You know what, guys? This podcast is not about perfection. We're two
Mm-hmm.
human beings
Mm-hmm.
embracing the world of recording, remotely and podcasting and the love of, international dramas. So, you're gonna hear things like this all the time. We like last week we had an accident of when my laptop died, and so Tommy had to do the outro by herself. We don't know
Yeah.
if you noticed, but yes. Anyway, let's get into today's content. Are you excited for it, Tommy?
Yeah, because we literally just finished watching it, and that movie had me spun for a bit, but then, it also made me feel like, yeah, Tommy, you're a bit smart. I'm quite smart.
To be honest, I was guessing throughout the entire time what was going to happen, and I
Yeah,
think what happened is what I thought would happen.
exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is that it didn't go the conventional route of what I was thinking, so I was just kind of like, okay. So yeah, okay. Let me pull up our synopsis, because I'm sure the viewers would like to know what we will be talking about today. So
Go for it.
today, sorry,
I said go for it.
no worries. I said viewers as well instead of listeners. Well, viewers. Well, both
Well,
fans. We'll
yeah,
say fans.
viewers, because we're on YouTube too. Although they're not
That's true.
viewing
That's
much
true.
at the moment, but yeah,
It's
listeners,
okay.
viewers,
We
audience, everybody.
Exactly. Every one of you, every one of you. So today we're talking about a Korean movie called The Handmaiden. Right. So the plot goes like this. 1930s Korea, in the period of Japanese occupation, Sook-hee is hired as a handmaiden to a Japanese heiress, Hideko, who lives a secluded life on a loud countryside estate with her domineering uncle, Kozuki. But the maid has a secret. She is a pickpocket recruited by a swindler posing as a Japanese count to help him seduce the lady to elope with him, rob her of her fortune, lock her up in a madhouse. The plan seems to proceed according to plan until Suki
Ah,
and
ah, ah, ah,
Hideko.
ah, 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 ah. ah. Aren't you
What?
giving the whole movie away?
This is the plot. I'm reading the plot.
From where?
MTL, girl. MTL's where everything's at.
I know, but is it giving everything away?
No, so Wait, let me land. The plan seems to proceed according to plan
Hmm.
until Sook-hee and Hideko discover some unexpected emotions. Mm. Inspired by the novel Fingersmith by Welsh writer Sarah Waters, with the setting change from Victorian era Britain to Korea under Japanese colonial rule. Oh, that's an interesting fact.
Yeah,
I
that's a
did.
very interesting time as well, I
It
think.
is a very interesting fact. So, Tommy, what did you like about this movie?
What did I like?
What did you
It kept
like?
me guessing. I think that's the first thing I can say I liked. It really did keep me guessing because one minute I was like, okay, right, I thought that it was going to be the two girls basically running a revenge kind of scam on the guy, like Count
Mm,
Fujiwara, the fake
mm,
count, basically.
yeah.
But at one point, I was like, huh? What's going on? Like, I was spun. Sorry, guys. Like I said, there's always going to be spoilers. You got to go watch this. But
But
when,
oh, spoiler alert. Before you watch it, just know it's an over 18 film. So if you're under the age of 18, please do not watch this film.
please,
And those who are over the age of 18, please proceed with caution. Wear it with the headphones, preferably, or when you're alone. Um, it's not a film you should watch with friends unless you're so
essentially,
inclined
because it
to.
has a lot of like, well, would you say softcore porn? Is that
That's
what it's called?
almost. Can't believe we're talking about this on the
Why not? Why not? That's the reality.
podcast.
Why
It's
not?
true.
Yeah, it's kind of softcore porn. So if you're a bit shy about that, then you may not want to watch it in front of people or with people. Not to say you're hiding it, but I mean, it's a bit. I mean, I know in my friendship groups there are some people probably wouldn't have been able to watch this
Never
movie
watched
with
this film.
because it's a bit
Mm.
sticky. But then with some, obviously, I watched it on Netflix party with Simi, so clearly it's not that deep. So it just
It's not
depends.
uncomfortable because we're all like, what is
No, like it's not even about what is this. It's just I wasn't expecting it. Like it was just kind of like
this? Mm.
oh, and then when I thought they're like okay, they're gonna change the scene, they didn't. I was just like oh, this is definitely on that 50 Shades vibe. But honestly, 50 Shades was
Mm.
trash. But
Yes.
anyway, that's
Yes.
the story for another day. Yeah. So if you're a bit uncomfortable with watching like softcore porn in front of people, then I really wouldn't tell you to watch this. Like, this wouldn't be a family movie, essentially.
No,
This isn't one that
definitely
you want
not.
to, unless you're very open with your parents. I don't know how everybody's relationship is with their parents, but
Mm.
I know I
Mm.
can't sit through this kind of movie with my mom because it's going to be very
I
sticky
would
and very
never,
awkward.
never. I would not even recommend it. Mm-mm.
But yeah, like it had me spun quite a bit because just when I thought, okay, I've got the plot, I know everything that's gonna happen. Like, because after a while of watching so much TV, you tend to kind of start understanding and kind of start predicting what's gonna happen. So I've already kind of me
Mm.
and Simi had already kind of we'd spoken and we already kind of predicted what was gonna happen, which was we thought that obviously Lady Hideko and Sook-hee were gonna go to get together, which were the handmaiden and the
The heiress.
yeah, the heiress, yeah, that they were gonna basically get together and con man so that they could get the money and kind of elope because there was one very hot and spicy scene when Lady Hideko was having a bath, and then so there was a lot of tension between like Lady Hideko and Sook-hee. So we were like, yeah, I know I'm onto these people. This is exactly what's gonna happen. Then then they got to the what's it called? The asylum place, like the mental hospital, and then they just switched everything up for us. I said, "What's
I
going on?"
know, right? And we were like, we
I'm
were
not
so
watching.
confused.
What's going
Huh?
on? I was confused. I said, "What's going on?" Like,
Exactly.
I screamed. Nah, I screamed. But honestly, if you were paying attention, you could sense like what I liked about the writer. Is it the writer, the producer? I
The
don't know.
director?
No, I think it's the writer.
Oh, the writing of the drama.
Yeah,
I mean, the movie. Yeah.
yeah, of the movie. What I liked about him it was that he did was he left little hints for us, but
Mm,
you had to
mm.
be very perceptive to kind of get them. So there were parts times when like when they were at the mental hospital, like Sook-hee laughed or Lady
Mm,
Hideko chuckled, and you're like, huh? Like, why is
mm,
she laughing? Why is she so evil? Like, why would you do this? Because essentially, obviously, is somebody sending Lady sorry, so he is meant to be the one sending Lady Hideko to the asylum so that she can
asylum,
take
yeah.
all of Lady Hideko's money. So it's like when
Mm,
they're both like when they both laugh at different times, like the timing of their chuckle or their little hidden laughter or the timing of their nodding and things like that is just so like well put together that you'll miss it
mm,
if you weren't looking out for it,
that's
basically.
true.
And
That's
I
true.
really like that. And there's just a lot of hidden meanings, and it's kind of like a triangle. And I like how like they kind of split the movie into kind of like two parts or like three parts. I'm not sure. I think it was two
It was
parts.
three parts,
Oh, it
yeah.
was three. Okay, so and each part kind of gave the movie from everybody's the same scenes essentially, but like from different perspectives.
Mm, mhm,
I
mhm,
think
mhm,
I really like that because it's kind of like one thing that I might we may be both be in on something, yeah, Simi, yeah. We both may be in on something, and then but based on what I say, then you're trying to gauge whether or not like am I actually saying it from a genuine place or am I saying it because I'm putting
mm,
up an act? And it's just kind of like watching the same scenes from different points of views. It made it seem like, oh, could you really trust what the other person was saying to you? Or were they actually saying it from the bottom of their heart? Or were they just
mm,
saying it just as part of the act? And especially more with Lady Hideko and Soki's dynamic, you could
mm,
really like try to like you it really made you question the motive behind the words that were spoken and everything. And also what I really liked about it was the cinematography. Oh my god. Like
mm, mm,
every scene was shot beautifully. Beautifully. Like again, beautifully. It was beautiful. Honestly, like every time you go into the house, it will show you a scene of the house. You think, okay, you know the whole like layout of the house. Then they open one secret door. Then you thought that you didn't even know was there. Like on all of a sudden, it's kind
mm,
of like oh, like
mm,
so. It's just kind of like that kind of thing where you have like those hidden spaces to like spy on people and things like that. It was just
mm,
really, really good. And even the lighting, like the way everything was like shot was just honestly like there was one particular scene of when I think it was I'm not sure if it was Hideko that was no Hideko's aunt, right? Was
yeah.
reading. She was doing a reading, and it
Mm.
was like essentially they were talking about how they were opening up the vagina, essentially. And then there was a part where behind her,
You just
they
said it so calmly how they
I don't
opened up the
understand. Like
vagina.
it's part of the human
Sorry,
body.
I'm very
I
childish.
don't see
Sorry,
why I
go
should be
on.
squeamish
Sorry.
about it. I mean, I get why you would be, but at the same time, it's just kind of like it is what it is. So we're just gonna. I mean, that's the premise of the whole shows. I mean, the whole movie. So we're just gonna have to be grown ups about this. So
Definitely,
like there was a scene where so she's doing a reading and she's talking about how the person was like the reading is it's kind of like that's those kind of Mills and Boone softcore kind of books where they kind of talk like basically talk you into the whole sexual experience, and it's like they they opened like the screen door from behind and you can just see like is it the cherry blossom tree or the peach blossom the blossom tree behind, and it's like shedding its blossoms, and I think it may be snowing. I'm not sure if it was snowing, but it was just really beautiful at that moment because they just opened the screen door as they were talking about how the vagina was opening, and I was just like, wow, this is so beautiful. Like, wow. I mean, whoa. I was just honestly, I have to say, it was shot just magnificent. Like it was everything was well planned. Like all the little hidden nooks and crannies of the house. You think you know the geography of that house. Then they open one screen door. Then all of a sudden, like even when they went into the library where he used to practice reading, then they took off a mat, and all of a sudden there was water underneath. And I was like, where did the water come from? And then you would just be like, oh, this is a new room. This is a different room. It's like, oh no, it was really, really cool. I think that was like my favorite part of like the whole movie because I just like how it just kept me guessing. Like I never knew what was really gonna happen. But obviously you knew but you didn't know. If that makes sense.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So you can definitely tell that you really enjoyed the cinematography of the film because you paid attention to the little details,
Yeah.
which is really good. And for me, like what I liked about the film was, like I said, the storyline. You
Mhm.
know, the fact that you mentioned that as well. You know, the fact that it was shot from three different perceptions, which made it really really interesting. So you kept guessing. And secondly, what I liked about it is that they kind of went an unconventional route. It's not basically like, a man saving the woman and like a priest, like, a Prince Charming coming.
Mm, mm,
It's like them, saving themselves, and it's about freedom, as as you pointed out to me earlier, off the racket. So it was interesting to see that kind of being, movie being played out. And this movie was what, it was about 4 years ago released.
yeah.
um so
Mm,
it was ahead of its time. But I have to come to the buts now. What didn't you like about this film? Because I can list a lot. I think this is one of the first movies I would say that I like and I dislike at the same time.
mm.
Like I have a very, very 50-50 feeling on, if I'm going to ever rewatch it again.
No, it's
But
definitely not something I'll be rewatching.
yeah,
Not because it's a bad movie. Like it's actually a really
no,
good
it's
movie. I
not.
would
It's a
say people
really
should
good
watch it.
movie. Yeah.
I could actually probably recommend it to someone to watch. Um,
Mm.
I think even for educational purposes, like to kind of notice how I hate to play this game, but how like men can just make everything so perverse. Like,
Oh my god. Like, from books, from in like, back in the day they didn't have Pornhub, but
mhm.
you can tell Pornhub was around for a
Nothing new
very
under
long
the sun,
time.
my darling. Nothing new under the sun. You think you created
Exactly.
something? Trust me, somebody's been doing it. Somebody's been
Exactly.
doing it. Honestly, like when I saw the picture with the octopus and the woman, I
Uh,
said, "Oh, so it's not just manga from now. It's manga from back way when." Hmm.
exactly. I'm telling you, humans be doing all sorts of all sorts, back in the day. It's just that now, like, because of history and
Mm,
cultures, things, or back then they didn't have ways of saving things,
mm-hmm,
so things were written out or faded away, only for them to come back again. So it's like a vicious circle of things, recreating himself. It's almost like the idea of reincarnation, that we always come back, you know um as something else different, but
mm-hmm.
everyone's still kind of like the same, or so they say. Like, I don't really know much about it, but or so they say. So, like, you know for me, what I didn't really like about this movie, what I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like about this movie is not just the sheer perverseness. It's just basically the fact that they've been just Jeffrey Epstein's, for time. They've
Basically,
always been there. This guy is meant to be this lady's uncle.
yeah. She's his
And
ward essentially, and he's grooming her to be his wife. Sick.
like, oh, no, 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 no. No, I do not approve. I do not approve whatsoever. But there are things, there are people like, for example, Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry to keep bringing his name up, but who like that kind of thing? Who would do that kind of thing that Hideko's uncle would do. The guy was making money,
Mm,
having all this, you know, lords coming to his house for a private reading of his
mm,
special book, and her having to act out, he had, trained her, in how she uses her voice, and display, the tonation, and
and
the
everything. Yeah.
and everything, just to paint the story. And he did mention one thing near the end. He goes that every story in different people's imagination is different. So you could be listening to the same story,
Mm-hmm.
right? but you are having a different perception to me from what I'm having of
Mm-hmm.
that same story,
Mm-hmm.
which is so it's interesting, isn't that?
Mm-hmm. It is.
But anyway,
When you're talking about like that whole, you know, there was just so many of. It reminded you of what's his name. Um, what can I say? It just kind of like. I mean, I can't say I didn't like it about this movie because I think I
mm,
actually quite
mm,
liked it, and that's probably why um I would probably recommend somebody else to also watch it because it would
mm,
be a like more for discussion rather than anything else.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
um count when we were watching it from his point of view, right? He was talking about how he didn't want her. Da, 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 da. So when we were watching it from Lady Hideko, I feel like the Count and Lady Hideko's point of view kind of overlapped a little bit. It was kind of
yeah,
meshed into one. But from Lady Hideko's part, they were talking about how when they both kind of decided that okay they were going to do what they wanted to do, they made her what I didn't like. Okay, yeah, so what I didn't like was the fact that they made her like this cold and unfeeling person, which wasn't the case. It's just because
yeah,
she had to like become this person that hid all her emotion because she wasn't allowed to have any. She wasn't allowed
mm,
to have any, which was like bondage to her, obviously. And
yeah,
what I noticed about that whole perversion thing is, and why I feel like it would be a good conversation like starter, was the fact that um ultimately
not at the
after
dinner table though.
no after all the counts like assertion that he's definitely not interested in her, that he doesn't like
mm,
her, doesn't even find her sexy, she's as cold as a stone, blah this, blah that, blah blah blah.
yeah, he compared her to a what is it called, a dead corpse, or what did he say?
No, he
He
said
said
he should. No, he didn't compare her to a dead corpse.
no, a corpse. He
No, he
said something
didn't.
about like
I'll tell you what he said about the corpse. He said, um, first he compared her to a stone, like to be called a stone. But when he was talking to to her uncle, he was like, "Don't you like?" He should. He was trying to warn the uncle to be careful because
mm,
if he continues on that path, that he's basically going to make her so cold that she'll be pretty much like a corpse. That's what he was trying
mm,
to say, but he didn't actually call her that. But he was alluding to the fact that she's getting close to the point of being pretty much dead inside. Um,
okay.
so that's what he was trying to say. But when what I'm trying to say is that he made all this points to try and say that he's not attracted to her, but then ultimately, when it came down to it, when it came down to the time and the opportunity was given to him, presented to him, and she came to she tried to like have sex with him, he definitely like he didn't want to do it in a good way, like when she kind of
Yeah.
started resisting a bit, instead he used his force.
Mm,
And what he said to her really struck me. He was like, oh, you women, like he said something along the lines of like you enjoy it more when you don't
when
want
it's
it,
taken by force,
or
yeah.
yeah, when it's taken by force. That's it. Do you enjoy it more when it's taken by force? Is
I
that a
hate
lie
that
that
line.
you tell yourself? Or is that something that they actually believe? Like it was a little bit. And then
Mm,
what I really liked about what the I think the director or the writer did was the contrast between both sexual scenes.
mm,
So every time he showed the sexual scenes between Lady Hideko and what's her name, Sook-hee,
Sook-hee.
it was more of passion. It was more of them trying to please each other. It was more of them being,
Mm,
making love to each other, as people would say, rather than just
mm,
just taking someone's body without them really really wanting it. And I kind of
mm,
like I like the fact that he was trying to allude to the fact that sometimes like or from my interpretation of it anyway, because I don't know what he was trying to say, but from what I interpreted of it, it kind of was kind of like you can still you can still provide pleasure without force.
exactly.
Like it
Okay.
can still be passionate, it can still be
But
two
that's what
consenting bodies.
it's supposed to be, though. You're not supposed to forcefully take
Exactly.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what
It's
it's
meant to
supposed
be
to
two
be.
consenting people, you know,
Exactly.
providing pleasure to each other, not you taking it by force because you have some weird perverse um what's the word, imagination, yeah,
Ideology.
or idea,
Yeah.
exactly, or ideology of what, sex should be, or what, your weird fantasies. I mean, everybody has their own little weird fantasies that they do or whatever, or they have like.
Mm.
And some people want to try and explore BDSM, some people try and explore all sorts of things. Cool, no problem. But then I don't know, for me personally, I'm sorry guys, like me, I don't like force, I don't like, don't beat me, like why you hit me, like nah, I'm so sorry. No, like just no, I don't like pain, okay? I don't like, why you hit me though, like I don't understand. No, I need to understand why are you hitting me, like I don't even like people holding me too tight. Like, why why are you here?
Oh,
Me
I love how it's like,
personally,
why do you hit me
why
though?
no, it's true. Like why am I feeling pain? You're meant to please
Mm,
me. Me, I like people that are tender. Don't be tender, please. Don't come and be hitting me. I don't want it. No, it's okay. No, but that's me personally. Everybody has their own kink in it. So each their own.
exactly.
But what I'm just trying to say is I find it very good to talk about because it's kind of like a lot of people like to shy away from the topic. It's just like sometimes you have
Like
an
me right
idea.
now, because I was like, when I was watching the film with you, I was just like,
Mhm.
I can't believe we're actually talking about this on the podcast. I know it's good to, get out of your comfort
Girl, we
zone.
are two grown women. Like, please, please, like, let's not. Okay, let's just not.
I know. No, I'm just saying because it's to the points of what you were making. You
Mhm.
were saying that every we like to shy away from this topic. We don't really like discussing this topic, except with like our close girlfriends. Of course, you can
Mhm.
kiki about that because they won't like take it seriously. But like on the podcast, I was just kind of like.
Yeah, no.
I
Um,
know what you mean, but yeah, I do understand, where you're coming from, and I like the fact that you said everyone has their own thing, and now
I
I
mean,
know
I mean,
Tommy doesn't like
do
pain.
remember the scene where? Do you remember the scene? Oof, when I was like, okay, yeah, now this is getting wild.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Was
remember
the
that scene.
scene
For
was
me, I had to
No,
readjust.
that's not. I don't even think you're thinking of the same scene I am. It was the
Which
scene
one?
where she was sat on the doll, like on the mannequin doll,
Oh
and then they
yes, you
put a
said you're gonna
noose,
say something about
a
that.
noose, a noose around the mannequin doll's like neck, and then it just brought me
Mm,
back to one episode that I've watched of Family Guy. Was it Family Guy? I think it was either Family Guy or American Dad. I'm not sure.
mm.
But it just reminded me of that, and it's called autoerotic asphyxiation. But
Ugh.
essentially, it's when people basically get pleasure from like what's the word, like suffocating themselves. So
Oh,
like they just,
that's a thing.
yeah, it's a thing. So they tether on that edge of like pain, because when she was doing the reading, that was essentially what they were talking, like she was reading, like, because she's obviously the one reading the erotic novels, right? So she was doing
Mm.
the reading, and I was like, this is sounding a lot like this thing, like, or am I the one that's now perverse, like am I the one that my head is going all sorts of ways? And then I said, "Ah, what's going on?" But then when she kind of, so the stupid noblemen apparently that wanted to buy the book or whatever, or invest in the book, or anything, they wanted a demonstration. So then her uncle had like this weird demonstration of what it looked like to basically be having sex while going through autoerotic asphyxiation,
Oh, because I didn't understand that
asphyxiation,
thing.
that's the word.
Because I was wondering why is she getting on the wooden thing and
Yeah, so
swinging
she
up
was
in the
doing a
air.
demonstration because the page was ripped out of the book.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But do you think that could have been on purpose on the uncle's part? Or is it the fact that he found the book, without that page and was like, okay,
Oh, no,
this
no,
is
no, no.
part.
He said he'd found the. To be honest, we wouldn't really know, would we?
No, that's true.
But
I don't know
essentially,
why
he
I
did
asked
say
that
that he found the book, like we got the book like that, but the page was already gone. So then people were like, "Oh, like, well, we would like to see what it like. Oh, it's a shame." So then he was like, "Don't worry, I got you." Like essentially, that's what he says. Like, "Don't worry, I got you." Like, and then he made Lady Hideko basically act it all out by
Mm.
suspending herself to this guy who was also suspended with a noose. Um, so, because when she was doing the reading, he was talking about like she was like, "Oh, I need to stop," and he was like, "No, no, like I want to feel more pain. I want to feel more pain." But then it's the pain that he was
Mm.
gonna try and get off. Like I was just kind of like, ah, this is a bit much. That was it was at that point I was like, rah, like, do you know, like, because obviously seeing it on a cartoon, like, although like those cartoons are like quite adults, like
Adultish, yeah.
I didn't think it was actually a thing. But then when I saw it, I said,
Mm.
and this was meant to be set back in the 1990s, in the
Mm.
90s, 1930s, I think. Um,
The book was written in the, yeah, 1930s.
okay, so if this was meant to be set in the 1930s, I mean, they've been up to all sorts of things, like, boy. I said, you know when you just have to sip your tea? Tea,
Like
like I
Kermit
was
the
like,
Frog, you
wow,
just
okay, all right. When you guys think that you're novel, you're not novel, man. They've been doing it. Honestly, they've
back
been doing it.
since the Stone Ages. They've been
Do
experimenting.
you know what I also found interesting?
What?
The scene where like on the when they got married.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they got married, Suki was in the room and in the next room, and she was there trying to sing. Well, in her perception, the two were having sex, right? A
Mm.
wedding night
Mm.
sex. And then the next
Mm.
morning she saw the blood and the blood stains.
Mm.
Obviously we all know in this day and age that just because you don't bleed doesn't mean you're not a virgin, guys. Like everybody knows this. And if you
Yeah.
don't, please get to know. Like seriously, like um
Go on, go on.
it's true, it's true. And also um so like obviously that's another thing that I found interesting about perspective, because I was like when I was watching that scene I was like raw, like, and she was there singing trying to kind of like just
Calm yourself
calm
down.
herself down, exactly, calm herself down and kind of ignore like the sound of pleasure coming from the next room, and she's just like, oh, like I was in my mind because I wrote it down. I said, imagine the person that you claim to love, your lover, your friend, your everything, is there busy having sex next door, and you just have to pretend that you don't care. Hey,
Exactly. Oh. I felt for her. I felt for her. I
I
felt
did
for
feel
her.
for her, but then and then
Yeah.
it just shows perspective is actually such an important thing, because now she didn't know if they were actually doing it or not.
No, but from the perception of Lady Hideko,
Yeah,
we knew they were not.
obviously
We knew the girl was.
she
Hmm?
wasn't having any of it. Yeah,
She wasn't. I love the fact that she actually stayed true to Suki
yeah.
throughout. Because the fact where the scene where Suki, Lady Hideko says to Suki, should I marry this count? And then Suki goes, yes, you should marry him, blah 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 blah. And then she gets angry, slaps Suki, and wants to go and hang herself. And then
Mhm,
obviously, Suki runs after her, and in that moment she confesses the plan. And I love the fact that they didn't get angry at each other,
mhm.
because she confessed that I'm not angry at you because I also was,
So she
you know
basically called it even. She said, "We're even,
yeah,
mate.
we're even,
We're even because you tried to trick me, I tried to trick you, so now we're even. Right? Let's move on.
so
I
they,
have to
they now.
stand, please.
Hmm?
I have to stand. Honestly,
Yes, exactly. Like there was no, big scene of them like fighting or anything, or because they had a common goal at the end of the day. They loved each other, one, and two, they wanted to have their freedom to love each other.
mm-hmm.
So, the fact that, they
I
devised the
don't even
plan
think.
and on. Hmm?
Sorry to cut you off. I don't even think it was a thing of them because they wanted to be together, and that was the premise of their them wanting freedom.
Oh
I
no, no,
think
no! I know, like it's more freedom for Lady Deco.
yeah.
Because
So and there's
Suki
two
got
forms of
angry.
freedom here, like because for Lady Hideko it's more like physical and mental freedom, whereas for Suki it's more about financial freedom.
That's
Which
true.
also
For
reminds
yeah.
me, oh my god, there was one thing that the count said. I was like, energy, energy.
Oh yes, I know the
When he
scene. I
was
know
like,
that
he's
scene.
frankly not interested in anything like in money. It's more about ordering wine without having to. look at the
Look at the
price.
price.
I was like, he's basically saying he wants to live the lifestyle. He doesn't care how much.
Exactly.
It's not about having all that money. It's just that he just wants to live lifestyle. He just wants to. He likes enjoyment. So the
Because he doesn't
content
like
I'm
her.
made for enjoyment. My pocket is my life. The kind of life I want to live is the life of enjoyment. That's basically what he was trying to tell us.
And
I'm
that
not
was
made
the
for
whole
this poor people
reason.
lifestyle.
And that was the whole reason he
Oh
became
my god.
a swindler. It was the whole reason he became a swindler. It was the whole reason why he decided to plan with Lady Hideko to give her her mental and physical freedom,
I'm so
right?
sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm not meant to be laughing, but I just find it so funny. My guy said, please, I'm just not made for this poor lifestyle. He's like, please, I just need to live my life, man. I just want to be me.
I just want to enjoy. I
He
want
said,
to
I
order a
just want to
bottle of
be
wine.
me.
Do you know what? It will be. It is
Oh
nice.
my gosh.
No, it is nice. It's the lifestyle we all want. We all want that lifestyle. We all want to be able to order wine and not look at the price tag. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all made for me, Shao, and for Tommy. I know we like enjoyments. See,
Mm-hmm.
my African voice is coming out. We like enjoyments. We like to enjoy ourselves. We like to dress up and enjoy because life is for enjoying. You know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Back to my normal voice. But
No,
yes,
no, to be honest, life is too short to not enjoy it, mate. Like, honestly,
I'm
enjoy it.
telling you.
Life is way
I'm
too
telling
short.
you.
And that's why I just, like I said, honestly, I can't get over it. He said it's not even about the money. It's just about me and me being able to afford the things I want, which is essentially, like you said, or I mean, for me, that's what I would strive for. Not, it's not about having billions and millions of dollars or
Mm,
pounds or euros.
mm.
It's for me, it's more about just being able to be like financially free, and I think that was what it was about
For Suki.
Suki. But I also feel like that's where the count made his mistake in his
Mm.
judgment of Suki. Because if
Because he
that was
thought she
the
would.
case, what he should
Mm,
have done was taken Suki's sister instead of
because
Suki.
she would.
He
Yeah,
took
she would
he
have
took
gone.
exactly because she would have gone for the money, and she would have been the one
Mm,
that would have been on the losing end. But the count ended up being on the losing end because he misjudged Suki. He forgot, like, and it also talks about how the fact that back then, or from what they were trying to portray, how men sometimes think that women don't have brains, or like we can't think, or we're not smart.
that
Because it's kind of like,
they couldn't have pulled off the
yeah,
plan.
he
Yeah.
never thought that those two would ever like plot against him. Because
Mm.
he's always thinking, well, she's too innocent. She has an innocent face.
She's too
So,
naive.
yeah,
Yeah.
what if I have an innocent face? So what if I look cute or naive, or like I
The girl could
can't
tell
do
the
anything.
weight of gold just by you know the just by biting on the carat
She
of
could
gold that
even
she
tell
had.
like that it was the earring, that the stone that was on Lady Hideko's earring wasn't sapphire. She could
Yeah,
tell.
it was fake.
Like, she could
She
tell,
could
and she
tell.
told her, she was like, "Yeah, that's not real, boo." So it's kind of like, it just shows how like so many women have been like looked down upon, not in the sense that like, no, they've been looked down upon in the sense that, oh, they're not smart enough, or what did they know? Like, they're
Well,
just
what
lying,
do they
or
have to
all they
offer
know how
apart
to
from
do.
pleasure and
Yeah,
giving birth
exactly.
and
Like,
recreation?
and so I
Yeah.
think there was just so many different hints in the movie of
Mm,
like
mm,
how men had debased women in so many different ways. Talk about physically and then even mentally as well. Like, because
mm,
even something so little as like running away. Like, Lady Hideko was so scared too because of what
mm.
um her uncle had shown her in the basement,
Basement. Oh,
and it's
it's always a basement, Tommy. Have you realized that it's either always a basement or attic? It's either one of the two in
yeah, like,
dramas or in
it's
movies.
crazy.
It's
Like,
always the
she
basement
was
or
so
the
scared
attic.
that even, and there was a scene that I absolutely love when they were when they were exercising the plan and everything. When they were about to
Mm,
leave, they were about to jump over the wall. Like, the wall wasn't very high. Like, it was literally like, couldn't have been more than a foot. It was very, like, very low, and
mm,
so Suki had already thrown her luggages over and already jumped. And then she basically now went back, put the luggages back,
Yeah,
and
to
then
help
made
Lady
it like a
Hideko.
a ladder for Lady Hideko so that she could jump off
Mm,
the wall. And I was
mm,
like, oh bless her, like because it kind of also signified her like giving her the stepping stones to her freedom. And it was just like those little
mm.
things. Like it's honestly, I can't lie to you, I really liked the movie. Like it was a bit much for me in the sense of like the perversion and everything. I just found it a bit sick. Like, and if you
But if we looked at the subtle hints that you
yeah, if
got
you look past that,
from the yeah,
there was a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
you're right,
messages in
right.
there, like because to me, when because she didn't have to stack those suitcases, she could
Luggages,
have just
yeah.
held her hand and just, but instead she stacked them up. So it just kind of was like, to me, it just signified like a stepping stone of her like walking into her freedom, rather than just kind of running away or snatching it by force. She majestically walked into her freedom, and it was no, it was really very lovely to see, honestly.
No, I know what you mean, yeah.
It was really very lovely to see. All in all, I thought it was actually a very good movie.
I can tell you really enjoyed the movie, and I can tell that your perception of the movie was probably much more deeper than mine,
Mm.
because maybe I couldn't get past, not get past the perversion, but
Simi,
it was like
Simi couldn't hack it. So it's like,
I can hack a lot of things, but the scenes were just a bit like a bit not yeah, a bit uncomfortable. Let me not lie. Let me not lie to the fans. Yeah, it was a bit uncomfortable for me.
mm,
Um, like we said, it's literally virgin. It's even more virgin than like not like virgin of the point of softcore porn. And 50 Shades of Grey was like it, like back in the day. 50 Shades was like, oh my god, it's a bit much. And I don't know if you've seen that movie 365 DNI or
oh,
DN on
honestly,
Netflix.
yeah, I've not watched it because I was just like, yeah, I heard a lot
It's
of people saying that
basically
it's just basically porn, man, and there's no.
it's
So, and then I was
basically
like, oh,
like that, but with this one, like even with that one, you kind of know what you're not really, it's not wrong. Like there's no passion, like you
mhm,
could just tell it's like, ah, I can sit through this because it's like yeah.
mhm.
But this one is like you could feel the two of them, the passion, everything, and you're just kind of like, whoa, okay, like
Yeah,
this is
if you're
well
not ready
done.
for it, it can be a bit intense. Essentially,
Yeah, yeah,
if you're not ready
exactly.
for it, it can be a
And
bit.
I think that's the thing with good cinematography and good movies, is that
Mhm.
apart from telling the story, it actually makes the viewer feel what they're feeling
Yeah,
in that moment.
even the
Like
sounds.
yeah, don't
The
remind me
art,
of the
honestly, even honestly, guys, what I liked about it as well, yeah, is just because like they show like it was showing like art from even back before their time, which was
mm,
if they were set in 1930s, this was when Japan was ruling Korea. So it's
cause
like back before then they had like a lot of um they had a lot of these types of arts and books and stuff, and I just thought it was very also nice to kind of see it from that perspective of like showcasing art, but also
mm,
sorry, I know this is, I don't know if this is, if I'm just like going off on a tangent here, yeah, but what was with the uncle's obsession with Japan and being Japanese, or even though he was actually Korean.
I think it was the fact that they looked down on the Koreans, because in the beginning, there was a part he said that his grandfather,
Hmm.
fought on the Japanese side, even though it was Korean or something similar to that effect, and they still kind of looked down upon him. And then it was until he did something to make him like be Japanese. That's
Hmm.
how no, no, no. He married a Japanese woman, and because he married a Japanese woman, that was, gave him a level of status. It
Hmm.
was, yeah, I think it was more or less to do with the fact that back then the Japanese tend to look down on, because they were colonization,
Hmm.
they were colonizing the Koreans. So I think that was it was more of self-hate.
Okay, yeah, because
um
that's what I was trying to get to. That was where
mm,
I was waiting for you to see if you were gonna get there, because essentially I thought it was more about himself rather than actually his nationality. Because I
no,
feel like
yeah, it
he
was more
hated
about
himself for
self-hate,
his
yeah.
perverse ways.
Do you think that could? So you think that could have a link to why he's perverse?
No, I just think he hated himself, and a lot of the things that he did had to be hidden.
Hmm.
Get what I mean? Like
I get what you
he
mean.
made himself look like some like one really like important scholar, but ultimately he was just collecting pornographic books.
Do you know that my favorite scene is when Suki destroys his collection of books? I was like, "Go, girl,
To be
go,
honest,
girl!"
as he should.
Honestly, I was waiting for her to burn that library down, but that would have been too much.
Yeah,
You would have probably been on their tail, if they burnt it out.
yeah,
But the thing is that I would have loved to have seen his reaction to seeing his library destroyed. I
yeah.
would have loved
That
to.
would have been a scene that I would have loved to see
I would have
because
loved to
that's
see
what
that.
he devoted his life to.
Exactly, like your life work vanished before your eyes, gone to the wind. Poof!
Yeah, I would have loved to see that. You're right. I would have loved to see that, but
I'd have
it's a shame they
loved to
didn't
see
show
that.
it to us. Um,
Ah, well, we can use our imagination.
just like he uses his.
Oh, please don't remind me what he uses his for. Do you know what? Yeah, do you know how sick he was
Now he's
to the
sick.
fact that he was asking the count in the end what it was like to sleep with
Lady
Hideko.
Hideko, yeah.
Like, what is your her your is your I can't even know the right English now. You're her uncle. Like, and you're asking what it was like to
Yeah,
sleep.
he was far gone, mate. He was far, far, far gone. He was far gone.
Well, anyway, they both got their just desserts at the end, guys. So
Yeah. Watch
watch if
it.
you want
Tell us
to.
what you think. No, because honestly, I actually want to know like if other people will notice different things. And also, I have a theory that he killed the auntie, her auntie,
mm,
her aunt.
instead of
I
her
That's
committing
my
suicide.
theory because when obviously when Lady Hideko was reading the book, she said something about when someone obviously like when they hang themselves or something like their tongue is meant to be out and they're obviously meant to have like loose bowels basically and basically defecate on themselves.
It's very graphic.
Yeah, so they're meant to defecate on themselves, and but she was too clean. She was clean, and then so she was
Mm,
like, "Oh, why was that?" And that it was at that point that her uncle showed her his basement, and
basement.
that's why I feel like he killed her, and then he staged it to look like a suicide.
Mm. Do you think? Do you think he did what he did to her? Is one of those things he kept in the jars in the basement?
Yes, because she literally ran mad.
That I saw.
She ran mad. Like there was
He
a
told
scene
you.
where she just literally ran, and then they stopped her from running away, and then she just went
She
back and
came
sat
back
here. Like
and sat down,
she ran mad, and then he had the audacity to say that they have madness in their family, and
running in the family.
it's from the mom's side, and he's the one that's gonna help them to like cure it. No, sir, you're the one that's mad actually, and you're the one that's
Mm.
making these females run mad. It's
And the
crazy.
way I can still imagine that the way he was licking the brush with the ink and his tongue being black. Ugh.
And I still don't really
Do you know what?
understand the
Do you
significance
not
of the
think
snake at the door.
mm?
I still don't really understand the significance of the snake at the door.
Neither do I. But the lady, the head maid, said something in the beginning when she was showing Suki around the house. She said something about you never go past the snake. So there's something important. There is an importance of the snake. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I need to watch it again to pick up. Now that I have those of the semi. Now that I have your subtle hints of like perception,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start looking at that rather than following just the story, but
Yeah, because you
look for
already know the
more
plot. Now I'm trying to like figure out the little nooks and crannies of the. Yeah,
of
do you
the.
know that's a cool. Oh my God, Tommy, I'm so cool. And honestly, I
I'm so
am like
okay there. Okay there. We see it. We see it. We know you are. We know. Don't need to
because
tell us.
honestly, I was talking about how I find the whole architecture of the house, like every nook and cranny, and then but I also feel like the writer of the movie actually left nooks and crannies in the movie for us to kind of
Mm, to
find.
find
Like
herself.
so,
Yeah.
if we find it, good. But if we don't find it, then it's just a secret that he knows or a secret that him and whoever it is that clocked. Whoever it is
Mm,
that actually like figured it out also knows. So in that sense, it's kind of like raw, like okay. So I saw what he did with the whole architecture and like the writing in and of itself. So I
mm,
honestly, it definitely a good piece of work. I can understand
it
why
is.
it was critically acclaimed.
Okay, so it's time for a popcorn rating, Tommy.
Yeah,
So, what would you give it out of 10?
I definitely give it. Ooh, I was gonna say 8.5 because honestly, it had a lot of things to make me think. It made me think, and I like movies like that. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm,
think I'll
mm-hmm.
give it 8.5. The perversion was a bit much. Like the
Mm.
sexual scenes were a bit much for me. Like one is enough, two is enough. You don't need to show me like 5 times. Okay, I get the gist. But I mean, I also understand the logic behind the
Mm.
those scenes. So for that reason alone, and because of the art, and because of everything, I'm gonna give definitely giving it 8.5. A very strong 8.5. I'm even close to 9. Not gonna lie.
Really? This is the first time you've actually. Wait, this is the first time you've actually gone above
8.
8.
Yeah.
This is. I'm
7.
trying to think
Yeah, I
of
don't think I've given
all
anything else this much.
yeah.
I don't
Of
think.
all we've reviewed, this is the first time I believe. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong,
I'm not sure.
fans. We have to. I have to probably go back and listen to some of the
Because
stuff
I
we've.
don't think I actually named anything that I didn't like.
No, you did kind of say that you liked it quite a bit,
Yeah, I did. I did. I did.
whereas I was just uncomfortable.
I mean, we have our
So
good
for
ones and our
me,
bad ones.
mm,
I said, I mean, we have our good ones and our bad ones.
that's true. Cause I really liked Parasite, and you were like, "No, it was
Mm-hmm.
2 hours a bit long."
Yeah.
Well, for me, I would say this is probably a 7.5 for
That's
me.
still a high
Like
rate.
it's still a high rating because I will. It's one that I would possibly watch again.
Mm,
Just for the fact of the things you've pointed out that I missed.
okay.
But for me, it was just a tad bit, on the edge of uncomfortable.
Mm,
Um, not because of anything. It's just, yeah. I'm a bit not squirmish, but ugh. You know what I mean, guys. Like I don't want to just, yeah, yeah, yeah. So 7 point. What did I say? 7.5.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a 7.5 for me. I like the fact that it signifies freedom in different things, financial freedom, mental and, physical freedom.
Yes.
And what else did we even mention? So I liked the fact that, it's not having to have a man come save you, it's you having, making a plan to save yourself and having a friend that you could count upon to at well you thought you were
Mhm.
using, but turns out at the end that you guys fell in love and whatever whatever, so you guys moved on from that. So all those things combined, I would give it a 7.5. And the fact that the ladies were smart, they deserve that, and it deserves being critically acclaimed as
Mm.
well. So yeah, so I would say that is the end of
I don't know.
today.
Every time I think about this movie, I'm just like, men ruin everything, man. I'm not. I don't hate men, but honestly, men do ruin everything. Oh my gosh.
Oh, told me relax.
I'm relaxed, but I'm just saying they actually do ruin everything. Gosh, I don't hate men. I mean, I
Well,
love them,
to be
but
honest, yeah, in this game of chess, the women won.
I'm glad.
Well, the ladies won. Hmm?
I said I'm glad.
And I'm glad they did, because I was thinking, oh, what's gonna happen? But my theory was right in the end. I was
Yeah,
guessing, because
I was
when you,
thinking, we both guessed it.
yeah, we both guessed it. We both guessed what was gonna happen. But
Yeah.
when the switch happened, we were like, wait, what?
I'm
Anyway, guys, this about wraps up today's episode of Lismo's podcast. We are so grateful for your time and attention to our humble podcast. So
Mhm.
yes, please, if you like what we said, what if you had if you agree, disagree, do let us know in the comments. Also give us a review on iTunes as well, so others can discover us as well. And yeah, have a great week ahead. Anything to say, Tommy? Tommy says bye. Bye.